morning show. You can find the Conduit for Action quiz over at conduitforaction.org, because knowledge, my friends, knowledge is power. So we're going to do a little bit of educating here. You see, the Arkansas General Assembly meets every other year for a fiscal session to pass appropriation bills. These appropriation bills grant the authority for specific agencies and departments to spend taxpayer money on specific line items. I know the suspense is absolutely killing you, right? The fiscal session is the culmination and full legislative process for the budgeting and spending of taxpayer money. The fiscal session is only for appropriation bills, unlike the regular legislative session, which takes place every other year in odd-numbered years. Arkansas Constitution Article 5, Section 5 lays out the details of the fiscal session and what can take place during the session. The quiz will highlight the budget requests from the Big Six, is what they're called. That will be debated and passed during the fiscal session. The Big Six are the 6 largest state agencies, and they account for the largest amount of appropriations across the state government. The Big Six include Department of Human Services, Department of Community Correction, Department of Correction, Department of Education, Department of Health and Institutions of Higher Education. The Big Six recently had budget hearings allowing legislators to ask questions about specific line item spending. The executive recommendation is the governor's recommendation. Of course, we covered that extensively. You had legislators trying to make cuts. You had them pass the governor's recommendation for the Department of Health without a quorum. They passed it without a quorum. There weren't enough senators there. It was just a disgrace of a process that we couldn't actually get the cuts made. But, you know, Ace is a big spender. So what are you going to do? All right, so this is our quiz. We got Joe on the screen. Joe, appreciate it. Thanks for, always being here. And
always willing to take the quiz.
Always willing to take this quiz. So we got a few things here. If you get a correct answer, I might play this. Just letting everybody know. And if you get a wrong answer, I might play that. It really just depends on how these. It really just depends on how these things work out. But anyway, so let's get started here. We've got question number 1 for fiscal year 2019. The executive recommendation for the Department of Community Corrections total appropriation was $126,198,213.
That's too much money.
How much of an increase is this number over the fiscal 2018 budget? Is it A, $109?
I'm just going to go no.
Or a
said no to that one.
Or a 0.001% increase? Is it B? Let's see, $2,506. I'm sorry, $2,506,101, or a 2.2% increase, or is it C, $14,964,906, or a 13.5% increase? Which one do you think it is?
Question: what is the community or Department of Community Corrections? What does that cover?
A Department of Corrections. I don't know.
Well, that's the next thing. The Department of Corrections is the next one.
Oh, okay. Executive recommendation for the department. I don't know, Joe. It's a government agency. Ththese things are
this one doesn't
duplicative and ridiculous.
This one doesn't sound as important, so I'm going to go with 2.2% increase.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right.
Doesn't sound as important.
Okay. All right. Question number 2. For fiscal year 2019, the executive recommendation for the Department of Corrections total appropriation is $430,499,151. How much of an increase is this over the fiscal 2018 budget? Wow, these are great. I love this. Is it a $2 million increase or 0.5%? Is it an $11 million increase or 0.29%, or is it
2.9%?
2.9%, or is it a $15 million, $15,717,424, or a 3.8% increase to the Department of Corrections?
I'm assuming I'm going to go because the Department of Corrections is pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Like I assume that they're going to go with the 3.8%, like the full as much as they can give them.
So $15 million. What's interesting here is there have been a lot of legislators saying that they're not giving enough money to the Department of Corrections this year. All right, question number 3 is for fiscal year 2019, the executive recommendation. Now, when you say the executive recommendation, remember, this is what ASA wants, so I'm going to change the question. For fiscal year 2019, ASA's recommendation for the Department of Education Public School Fund.
Oh my gosh, it's almost
$2 billion.
$3 billion.
Yeah, it's $2 billion.
Oh my gosh.
900. Man, when you really start looking at some of these numbers, it's when you start to read them, it's just daunting. All right, $2,997,802,887.
I'm gonna go with the full.
How much of an increase is this? How much of an increase is this from last year? Okay, is it 0.8%, which is is that what is that?
23,517,000. Yeah,
is it
906?
Is it a 1.1 increase? Which would be
32,904,312.
Yeah, or is it a 2% increase of $57 million?
I'm gonna go with the 2% increase because ACEs, because from what I understand, there's still some problems with the education system, or at least the Department of Education.
Oh, really? That may be the understatement of the month.
Exactly. So ACE's biggest problem is if there's a problem, throw money at it. That's the answer.
So
I'm going to go
2% increase. Okay. Question number 4. Fiscal year 2019, ACE's recommendation for the Department of Health is $406,118,501. How much of an increase is this from last year? Is it 1%, which is $3 million, 3.1%, which is about $11 million, or really $12 million? Or is it 7.7% increase, which would be a total of $29,104,705?
I feel like this department is ACE's second favorite one, or only after Department of Health and Human Services.
DHS,
yeah. Yeah, DHS. So I'm going to go with the 7.7%. Give them as much as they want.
All right.
Or as much as you can give them.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is this was the key one. In the audio that we were playing when you had Jim Dotson with his motion back when they were doing the appropriation hearings, it was Department of Health they were trying to cut because they said in the committee, the Department of Health bureaucrats said, well, we spent $12 million last year. We're asking for 16 this year in appropriation authority.
Oh, yeah, they're giving 32.
And ASA approved them for like 32 million more or something crazy. So the total increase of the total department, Joe, you're going with 29 million. Okay.
Sure.
Question number 5. For next year's fiscal year, ASA is recommending the Department of Human Services. The budget is
It's almost $10 billion.
Oh gosh!
It's $9,987,000,092,513.
I'm not a math guy, but I'm getting a headache having to count my commas to figure out where I start. Is it million or billion?
It's billion.
Okay, so yeah, this one is $9,987,092,513. So that budget for DHS,
and based off what I just said. Let's not even read the numbers. They're just he's just going for the biggest one, 18.4%, which is a $1,552,518,472 increase.
18.4% increase.
18.4% increase.
That's what you're going with.
Yes.
That's how much of an increase it is for DHS.
Because that's his favorite one.
Okay.
I feel like.
And maybe not by choice, by the way, because.
No. I think it's by choice.
But I'm just saying, when you commit to growing government, and in terms of a welfare program, when it comes to Medicaid expansion, I mean, we are just you're boxed in. It's almost like if you ever hear some of the national politicians, they talk about discretionary spending, and they talk about non-discretionary spending, and in America, our national budget if you can call it that. They won't pass a budget, but our national budget, you've basically got 2/3 gone immediately, just gone, because it's non-discretionary spending. It's obligations. It's what you have to pay when you're talking about Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And Arkansas is essentially becoming the same way, but even more so, ratio-wise. And so, so we're locked into these increases. We're locked into having to pay more money because we're going from having to pay nothing to having to pay 4%, then 6%, then 10%. It's not good. Question number 6. For this upcoming fiscal year, ACE's recommendation, that's 2- and 4-year colleges and universities and non-formula entities, including UAMS, $632,995,756. How much of an increase is this from last year? Is it 1.2% or $10 million, 3.5% or $29 million, or 5.7% for $47, almost $48 million? Which increase is it? Notice there's nothing down here that says how much of a decrease.
Yeah.
How much of a decrease is this? They're all questions telling you one thing.
I feel like it's
an increase.
I feel like it's 1.2 because ASA gave them an increase and then asked for them not to raise their tuition.
Well,
so they don't have to cover more money with loans and stuff.
I mean, that's if you take him at his word, you would think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 1.2.
I mean, if you trust a politician, it's what you would think. Question
1.2.
All right, question number 7. What is the source of these numbers and percent increases?
I'm gonna go with the fact that they're from BLR because the numbers of percent increases were pulled out of the air. Oh no, I'm going to go with BLR.
Okay, so this data
individuals.
comes from the Bureau of Legislative Research on their website in the budget manuals for each of these agencies, and the percent increases were calculated using these Bureau of Legislative Research numbers. The source material can be found above in the description box links on this quiz. All right, so have you subscribed to Conduit for Action's email list? You have, Joe, but others taking it may not have, so you can do that. And you put the town that you live in, and go ahead, Joe. What do we got? What'd you do? How'd you do this time?
I got 71.4%.
Ooh, you got 5 out of 7 points.
So I missed the first one.
Okay. So check it out. Here we go. You missed the first one. The first one was the executive recommendation, ACE's recommendation for the Department of Community Corrections. You picked a 2.2% increase. You were wrong. Sorry. 13.5% increase.
Jeez, that's so much more money. That's
Instead of a $2 million increase, it's almost a $15 million increase.
That's a $12 million differential. Oh my Lord.
Hey, big spender.
Hey, big spender. Money.
Hutchinson. All right.
I got
what
numbers
else?
2 and 3 correct.
Yeah, 2 and 3. You're good. What else?
4 correct. I should have just gone with my normal thought process, which is just pick the highest one.
Where's your other? What's the second one you missed?
No, I only missed I haven't got that one yet. I haven't got to that one yet. It's probably lower on the list.
Okay.
But I should have just gone with my normal process of just picking the highest one.
So the stuff that you got right is essentially, the largest number. The largest number was correct every single time.
Yeah, that should have just gone.
The largest amount of increase on this. It was pretty easy. It was like a teacher that just wants you to pass the test. Just wants you to figure it out.
I could have made 100 if I had just gone with what I normally do.
So you got question 6 wrong.
Darn it.
Which was the institutions of higher education, which is funny. You said, well, maybe it's not as much of an increase because the governor asked them to freeze their tuition. No, you would be trusting that he's actually doing anything.
I'm kicking myself.
They can
right
still
now.
raise fees, by the way. Yeah, he has this whole thing. Asa comes out and he says, I'm asking them to freeze their tuition. Well, look, they can still increase their fees, which is still a cost that you have to pay in order to go to class, in order to take your classes.
Which is dumb.
It's all carefully crafted language. It's just a big joke. It's an insult to us. It's just like, wow, well, they'll never figure it out, and that's what they count on. They forever, Little Rock has operated because there hasn't been enough mediums like this program, Conduit News Radio. There haven't been enough mediums to get the truth to the people, and that's what we're attempting to do. in many ways, as we can be heard on the internet. We make our content available to as many stations as we can, and our terrestrial affiliates across Arkansas. So anyway, Joe, you did pretty good. You just should have gone with the largest amount of increase. It's a huge amount of money that we are spending in increases, in appropriation authority, and it's really hard for the leadership to claim that they believe in fiscal conservatism. There are the leadership. There are Republicans that do, and they're working and they're trying, but there's not enough of them. It appears there's not enough of them that are willing to buck the status quo. There's not enough of them that are willing to go against the governor's wishes, because they worship that R at the end of his name more than I think they really believe in the principles that the R is supposed to stand for. We have to take a break. Back in just a moment.